Sivga SV023. Not a super compelling name, but a decently compelling headphone. This guy comes in under the $500 mark, which is an interesting territory for open back dynamic drive headphones like this. This is a beryllium coated 50 millimeter driver. Other things in this territory would likely be all the well-known Sennheiser stuff, the Beyerdynamic stuff, maybe Grado, like all the sort of dynamic open back headphones have an offering in and around the $500 price point. So Sivka is definitely picking some fights. They actually have their own planar that I think is maybe like $350, maybe a little cheaper than this. So it's an interesting in terms of their lineup. I got to try the Cindy Peacock. Cindy? That sounds so wrong. Sandy? Anyway, that's a subsidiary of Sivga, and that's their like sort of more high-end offering. But there's some design traits here that are, reminiscent and interesting. These are, in theory, real wood cups, and there's enough striation to believe it, but these things are so light that they don't feel like a woody headphone. They don't feel like, an offering from ZMF or something. They're kind of light as air. The build is really actually very nice overall. I mean, everything, the tolerances are really tight. Machined bits of aluminum. The pad shape's really interesting. Kind of reminds me of the recently launched ZMF planar, where they were talking about how critical it is to establish, good closure around the ear, and this pad does that weird sort of swoop in thing to capture the space on your skull behind your ear. So nice materials all around. It doesn't feel super fancy like this grill material. Reminds me of, like, I don't know, some screen or fencing or something. So it's not like incredibly high end. This feels like realish leather. I don't know, maybe realish leather on top, leatherish on the bottom. Either way, super comfy because it weighs like nothing, and it feels sturdy, feels durable. It comes with I think this is the same case that the Peacock came with, which is cute. I don't know like where I'm going again with my little strap, but anyway, nice enough to have a travel case. I mean, this is a very easy to drive headphone. It's like 100 dB, so totally reasonable to think you would actually travel with this headphone. The cable looks okay. It doesn't feel very nice. It doesn't feel less nice than other things at its price point. But compared to like the Cindy stuff, it doesn't. And they went with the 2.5s instead of 3.5s just to make me insane. So naughty on you. I think you had plenty of room for it. The main cable is terminated in a 4/4 balance, so that's nice, and they do give you the option to easily convert that back down into a 3.5 for more applications. So I'm hip to the accessories and the package and all that, and I like the build and the weight. Like I said, super easy to drive. I started off with the Mojo and just spent on a bit of time on that, sort of thinking for something price comparable that's on the go, that feels like it could be a good match for a nice little contained system if you don't want to lose your mind and go too deep in this stuff. Definitely opened up with something with a bit more drive behind it, and my favorite pairing, unsurprisingly, was a tube amp, the Taboo, which it just sounded the best, the biggest, the smoothest, the fullest, the most enjoyable for me. So sound. Mids. It has a little bit of a flatness in the mids that can sometimes make it a little hard to connect emotionally with the music. I found myself sort of turning the listening level up, and then it would start to come alive a bit more. It was for me a more enjoyable headphone with pop than with like jazz, like really quiet small stuff. Wasn't quite didn't click as much as like bigger, more complicated, more energetic stuff. The timbre or the timbre with like horns, trumpets felt like a little off to me. but that's, you know, that's kind of my sweet spot is like jazz stuff. So I'm probably extra nitpicky in that territory. But then like turning to like some acoustic guitar, it sounded really lovely, warm, twangy. So I don't know. Maybe it was my mood. Maybe it was the weather. Highs, it does have the twang. It does have the crisp little crackling on stuff, which I like a lot. It's not peaky. It's not sharp. Nor is it like overly rolled off or like overly smooth. The highs, they have energy to them. For me, in some ways, this is maybe a complaint about dynamic drivers these days, but like energy in that upper register can just get a little tiresome for me and a little bit fatiguing. I might be sort of overly sensitive to that. But you know, not an issue. It's not like a peaky or annoying headphone. It just has some energy up there, which is nice. And I said it like the top of it, the little crackly bits are also very great. Yeah, the tuning's not aggressive at all, so I don't want to give that impression. Bass is nice. It's full. It sits down low. Not like a ton of slam, but it has good body. It has good weight to it. I'd say the presentation, the soundstage is fine. It's not super extended. It's not super tight. It's a nice sort of balanced soundstage. Separation is actually pretty good. I found it pretty easy to sort of parse through different instruments and get a sense of air between the players on a given track. So yeah, finally one of my quick takes will actually be quick. I guess conclusion is like, if, you know, I've heard other sort of 50 millimeter beryllium drivers that eke out more micro detail. And if you're hunting for the thing that's going to have all the super sharpest, crispest little crackly bits, I don't know if this is that headphone. I think this headphone has a different point of view. I think it's pleasant. A terrible word. No, I think it's really pleasant. It's got enough detail and spatial information to keep things interesting, to keep you engaged. But it's not edgy. It's not trying to prove something. It's not trying to show off its technical prowess. I feel like I said similar things about the Peacock. You know, it's like a tuning that is, you know, pretty all day listenable, works across a lot of genres. You know, and with the argument around weight and comfort, I think it's a fair competitor to the other things at this price. And definitely, if you're sort of in that, I want to open back, dynamic headphone under $500, I think it's worth having on the consideration list for sure. Might not quite have the name brand authority of a Bear or a Sennheiser or a Grotto, but I think it's definitely a really interesting offering, and I keep being surprised by the stuff that Sivga brings to the table. So, yeah, that's it. Everyone be good. Signcraft, signing off. Everyone be good. Signcraft, signing off.